MG, so good to hear you again, mate. Let's get down to business straight away. Was it a red card offence?
Well, on first viewing, Marty, I don't think it was, mate. I really don't. I'm an ex-player. I've been around the game for 50 years now. And I think I know when I see something on a footy field that's untoward and deserves a send-off. That, to me, last night was it was reckless and careless, but I don't think it was intentional. So I think we should have let the judiciary deal with him like they have. We're going to give him 4 weeks out of the game, but I think the game suffered last night because of it. And when you see a player like Joseph Sua'ali'i, who's only a kid himself, trying to make a tackle on another kid, which is Reece Walsh. I've seen some footage this morning from another view, which Sua'ali'i, about a metre from impact, didn't have his eyes even on Reece Walsh, who had dropped about 3 or 4 inches at that time from sliding in the turf. So, yeah, it was reckless. It did hit him in the head. But if we go back to round 3 or 4 this year when Penrith played the Broncos and Taylor May clocked Reece Walsh in the jaw and broke it with a head clash, that was reckless and careless. And he didn't get sent off or sin bin. He got 1 week suspension for it. So, to answer your question, I think the game was over after 7 minutes, and the 80,000 people who bared the elements were the big losers in it, not just New South Wales.
So there's a couple of elements to this, and to me it feels a bit like the red card to Sam Cane in the Rugby World Cup final as well. How much are all of our views skewed by the fact that we all felt as soon as that happened, the game was over as a contest, and that is the most unfortunate, thing about it. I know, obviously, the most unfortunate thing is, Reece Walsh, and hopefully he's okay and all of that. But just because it destroys the contest, we're also disappointed. So therefore, is it natural to sort of skew the way of, he shouldn't have been sent off for that reason alone?
No, I think so. Yeah, I think so. As I said at the top of this chat, I think we all know when we see something that deserves a send-off. If someone walks up behind a bloke and puts one on his chin without him watching, see you later. If someone does a high hit on the bloke and it's totally intentional, I think we all know as connoisseurs of the game when we see something like that. Last night was dramatic because it was Origin. There's a lot more eyes on the game, and I think we've got this could lead to a real change where Sua'ali'i is sinned for 10 minutes, but he stays off the whole game then. And then New South Wales maybe should be able to put a replacement player on in such a massive contest. I don't know, Marty. I don't know the answers to it, but all I know is that I watched the game at home last night. I had about 15, 20 friends and family over. We were all ready for the game, and after 7 minutes, our attention was gone. We didn't hardly watch another minute of the game. So there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way going forward where State of Origin such a monster, such a promotion that we play above the rules and outside the rules, that as soon as someone does that last night, albeit accidental, we send him off and the game's done. Queensland it's hard enough winning a game in clubland with 12 men, let alone in State of Origin. Everyone knew the result. Everyone knew the Queensland were going to win. So, and I suppose, Marty, if you get a player, and I'm thinking on the go here, if you get a player who is a bit of a hitman and you send him out there for 10 minutes to take it out, well, that could be detrimental to the fact that what I just said. So there's pros and cons. All I know that he'll be out for 4 weeks. New South Wales got their bum smacked, and Queensland looked totally awesome in doing it.
I think personally, I probably disagree with you in that I think it's a red card. And I say that, MG, because, we watch obviously a lot of rugby here in New Zealand, and in rugby, that's an instant red. There's no debate about it. There's no question about it. And the reason that it is an instant red is because they say that the duty of care is on the tackler, regardless of what happens to the guy he's tackling, whether he slips or whatever, that it's your shoulder that hits his head and you're responsible. And that's because of the class actions, the CTE, the fact that 400 players in England are going to sue the sport. And so I tend to lean towards that because I keep thinking, when is rugby league going to catch up with this? And it's only when a class action happens. So, but at the same time, I share your disappointment. I was like you, so looking forward to this game, and then after 7 minutes, you're not going to win that game with 12 against 13. It was the same as the World Cup final for the All Blacks. As good as we might have been in the second half, with Sam Cane off, you're not going to beat the bloody Springboks with 14 players. So for us fans, it's natural for us to go, oh God, there's got to be a better way.
And I think the emotion of the night as well. It's a very emotive subject. We're talking about the first time that someone has been sent off the quickest sent off in the history of the state of origin, which has been going around since 1980. And we've never seen something like this happen before. So it's all new to everybody. So everyone's going to come up with different ways and angles to try and talk around it and try and change things. But I get your point. At the end of the day, the duty of care is with the defender to try and but then we want consistency in the game, because as I just spoke about, Reece Walsh broke his jaw round 3 and from a head clash, and we saw nothing in it. Accidents are going to happen. Last night wasn't an accident. It was reckless and careless, but it was no intent. And so I think it depends who you speak to. If you speak to New South Welshmen, everyone's going to tell you that it was a sin bin. If you speak to Queenslanders, they're going to tell you it was a send-off. And I think most Kiwis are Queensland supporters. So,
apart from me, mate. So,
I get it, but I honestly get it. If that was if my son, who's now played a few first grade games, was Reece Walsh last night, I'd want that player sent off. So it depends what type of mood and what camp you're in.
Exactly right.
All I know is that the CTE shit is real, and I've got a lot of good mates who I played with and against who are going through it right now, mate. And I know it's real, and I want to do everything in our game to get rid of it. And if it's making a stance in Origin, well, so be it.
Mark Geyer is with us, Origin legend himself, and we love the fact you spend some time with us, Mark. And the worst thing about it is I had all of these questions I was going to ask you about the contest, about the game, and they just seem like irrelevant, don't they? Because how do you assess a game when it's 12 against 13 and they've got that advantage, they've got that over? Look, there were missed tackles, I know, there were plenty of opportunities for the Blues, but I don't even feel like we can discuss it given the fact it's such an uneven contest at that stage.
Well, Marty, I had notes. I was sitting down last night, had a couple of beers. I said, okay, guys, I've just got to take some notes for this game.
Of course.
And I'm texting my producer as the game goes on. I was going to do the 5 moments that mattered. My work stopped at the 7th minute. So I said, there's nothing else to talk about. There's nothing else to write about, because whatever happens from now on is inconsequential, because it was 12 against 13. And really, that's all we're going to talk. And on our show today on Triple M here in Sydney, that's all we spoke about for 3 hours. We had people calling up. We had 75% said, obviously we're in New South Wales, so 75% said that it should have been a sin bin. The other 25% said that it was an instant send-off. So, it's a harsh one, Marty, and I wish I was speaking to you more about the game as well, because